Over in the Premier League, Arsenal cut Liverpool's lead at the top of the Premier League table to 6 points after their comeback win at Brentford yesterday. Let's welcome in Nadim and Nua to talk more about this. But Stevie, Nicol, given that we do have you back and given that Gabriel Jesus is in the form that we're seeing right now, we wanted to ask you, has Arteta found the solution that he needs up top?
That's a bit of a statement, isn't it?
You're not a Jesus fan, are you?
It's a couple of games. I wouldn't say that. I mean...
It's 6 goals in his last 4 games in all competitions.
Yeah, I would like to play against him. He's lively. He gets himself around. Yep. You know, you're never quite sure where he is. He's always looking to get in little pockets.
There's going to be a but somewhere here. I can feel the but coming.
But he's scored in... How many was it you said?
6 goals in 4.
6 goals in 4 games. Well, that's a great little start, because that's what it is. It's a little start. At the end of the day, the most important thing is, if he scores, Arsenal win. That's the most important thing. And right now, that's what's happening. And Arsenal 100% deserve to win this game. I mean, you talk about... The second half was about as perfect an away performance at a place like Brentford as you could wish for. I mean, no shots on target. You score 2 goals, get yourself 3-1 ahead, and then you shut the game down. Shut it down. Don't give the opposition, don't give the home team a sniff of the goal, because you can't afford mistakes. And they're not making mistakes. And they are just sitting on Liverpool's coattails, waiting for Liverpool to slip up.
And that's where we're at.
And that's exactly where we're at.
Nadim, is Stevie right on the Gabriel Jesus situation right now?
Well, I think for Arsenal, what they need to be doing in the second half of the season is having big goals. I think Jesus being in the form now that he's in is great. I think we saw this last season with Havertz around this time of the year where he started to score some big goals for them. But the fact is, this situation is different. They're chasing Liverpool side, who have so many goal scorers everywhere, it feels like, on the pitch, and the main man himself in Mo Salah. But I think Gabriel Jesus is a good player. You know, I saw him when he was playing for Man City, and he was an important part of that squad. When he was playing week in, week out, it didn't necessarily feel like he was the best version of Man City, but he was definitely important for those spells. And maybe this is another example of it. And for Arteta in the second half of the season, with so many games to come up, whether it's going to be the League Cup, it's going to be the FA Cup, the Champions League, the League, I think the fact that he has the ability to rotate will make a big difference, because we're used to seeing Havertz play the 9. Well, this time it's Jesus. Maybe Havertz, when he's fully fit, he can come back in. Jesus can go and play in a different position. But just try and have an impact, because he is a league winner. He's one of the most experienced players when it comes down to being successful in the Premier League. So yeah, I know he's been criticised for the amount of goals that he scored, and that goals per minute ratio that he showed just before isn't great, but he knows he can do better. And I think for Arteta, he believes in him as well. And, you know, starting off with that win against Brentford, as Stevie said, that was such a comfortable second half. And you say, well, it's only Brentford. Well, Brentford had the joint best home record in the division before that game. So it's definitely something that needs to be spoken about, and it's good to see him in good form.
Nodding there, Stevie.
Aye, 100%. No question. If they want to win the Premier League, they need a proper goal scorer, and they don't have one. And as good as Jesus is doing right now, by the way, half of those 6 goals you're talking about came in the League Cup. So cool your jets a little bit.
Well, let's talk about Gabriel Jesus at Manchester City, though, as a goal scorer, Nadim, if we can.
Yeah, so he wasn't ever the main goal scorer. He wasn't second. Sometimes he wasn't even third. You know, looking at the likes of Aguero, Sterling, and 1 or 2 others. But he was definitely somebody who would chip in. I think I remember watching the game where he scored, I think, 4 goals in a game itself, possibly against Leeds a few years ago. So yeah, I don't think he's necessarily the answer in terms of playing that number 9 position. But then the other side of the debate is, you know, as you look at Manchester City now, you know, there's a lot of critique being given about Erling Haaland, because they say all he does is score goals. When he's not scoring goals, what's his value? I think for Arteta, he likes the collective. He likes people that can sort of help the style of play as well as chip in with the goals as well. And in my opinion, I think for Arsenal in the summer, obviously, they might be looking for a number 9 that's going to score a ton of goals. But in reality, other people need to chip in as well. I think it's the collective that makes a big difference, because in the years that I've seen in the Premier League, you know, when I think of a 9 scoring tons of goals, I think of the likes of a Harry Kane. But how did Spurs do during those seasons? You know, they had probably 1 or 2 years where they were close to winning a league title. But in reality, most of the time, you had a guy lifting the golden boot and a team that was trying their best to qualify for the Champions League. I think Arteta sees it a bit differently, and it's probably why, you know, he persists with some of these players. And, you know, up until last year, in the last 2 years, if it wasn't for Man City, you know, maybe they would have been league winners with the squad that they have now, which I believe, as the guys do, you know, it is good enough, but maybe something is just one piece away from taking them over the edge.
Remember at one point, Jesus at Manchester City said to the manager, I'm not a centre-forward, I'm a right winger. He said, that's where I play for Brazil, I want to be a right winger, I'm not centre-forward. He changed his tune when Arsenal bought him. He said, no, I'm an out-and-out centre-forward, you know, I can play that role. And when he first went to Arsenal, He did everything. He scored goals, he was closing people down, he was turning, he was looking the all-round centre forward. But it didn't take long, I think it was after an injury, for him to look a very average player. And that's why Arteta left him out the side and played other people in those centre forward roles. Again, he's a confidence player. At the moment, his confidence is high, but I don't guarantee he's going to score goals from now to the end of the season, or even play well from now to the end of the season.
One player that Arsenal can be very confident about right now is 17-year-old Ethan Nwaneri. He obviously featured. It was his first Premier League start for Arsenal in this game. One of the highest rated players in it, Nadem. How much can he offer this Arsenal team?
Well, I think he's somebody, as you look at him in the team, doesn't look like he's 17 years of age. I think he's going to be 18 in March. And the way that he was taking the ball under pressure, the way he was able to go past people, the fact that he had some strength to him as well, and he has got a very keen eye for a pass, I think it looks incredible. Because as I've seen him play before, I'll be honest, I didn't know how old he was. I thought maybe he's 19, 20, 21, something like that. But to be that young and to be that effective and to fit into that side, you know, this is currently the second best side in the Premier League. And it looked like he'd been playing for years, in my opinion. And I don't know if necessarily playing on the right wing is going to be his best position, because the talk is maybe he's more like an Odegaard type. Maybe he's an attacking midfielder, number 10. But the fact that they've got somebody like that that's so young that people are saying should be playing, I think it says a lot about his talent. And, you know, this is the next in line after a Saka, and he can see that he can hold his own. The drive is there. Arteta knows him very well, it looks like. Seems like he can trust him in these big games, because to go back to it, playing Brentford away from home, playing Brentford at the G-Tech is a tough game in the Premier League this season. But he trusted him, he put him out there, and I thought he played very, very well. And again, a reminder, he's 18 years old in March. That is crazy, crazy talent.
But let's talk about him on the right-hand side, because does that offer Arteta an option for somebody other than Saka when he needs it?
Well, he played the game very much like Saka would play it. He's a left-footed player playing out in that wide area, and he obviously came in on his left foot and delivered a couple of good crosses. He tried to play a little 1-2 in and around the box. But he also, on 2 occasions, did a step over and went down the outside and went past the defender down the outside and tried to get a right foot crossing. So he's got all the attributes you need. And Nedum's absolutely right. I saw him play for the youth side in the FA Youth Cup a couple of years ago, and he was playing in the number 10 role. He was a creative player. But he can play out wide. He's got all the attributes. I mean, he could have played Martinelli out there and Trossard on the left-hand side, but he trusted Nwaneri, and I think he'll trust him more and more as the season goes on.